Hey guys, welcome to the next episode of the 1964 TR4 overhauling, going over procedure that we're doing here on the Rusty Beauties channel. And in the last episode we started working a little bit on electrical parts, like we installed the radio and stuff like that. So maybe in this episode we should continue with installing some other electrical components that we have here. Let's change all the bulbs to LED, including the ones on the dash. We're gonna see, we had it apart before, now maybe we're gonna have to take it apart again. We will see about that. But all the lights are gonna become LEDs. So without further ado, let's get crack-a-lacking. Before we start changing bulbs though, let's make sure that everything works still, because if something doesn't work later, we won't know if it is because of something that we did or something else happened under the dash, for example. So we just want to make sure that everything works. And yeah, here, these work. This I took apart so I can see what kind of bulb is there. And yeah, all this works. Let's see the brakes. Oh yeah, I can see the reflection in the door. Yeah, left signal works. Right signal works perfect. So, parking lights. Oh, these are the parking lights? Okay. Headlights. Okay. Right signal. Perfect. Left signal. Perfect. Okay. So everything works as it should. By the way, I have the ignition coil and the electronic ignition disconnected, so when I turn the ignition on, they're not powered and I'm not worried about leaving the key on the on position. Okay, so then we can start, and I think the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna change the flasher unit, because I want to make sure that, again, everything works with the new flasher unit, because I know that when I put the LED bulbs, they're not going to work with the old flasher unit. But if I change the bulb and the unit and it doesn't work, then I won't know whether it's the bulb or the unit. So we're going to do everything one step at a time. We're going to change the flasher unit first. So the old flasher unit is here and it's hanging, and look how it is mounted. It's not great. So yeah, let's replace it. We might need to change the connectors, because these are the old connectors for bullet style connections, and look how they are used here. Clever. Okay, we're gonna fix that. Alright, so I replaced it. I changed the connectors and I put the new relay, which also has a ground now, ground strap, and I have a mount for it that I'm gonna mount right here later, and we're gonna put the relay there, and that's where we're gonna connect the ground to. And I'm gonna do that later because I'm gonna have to remove the pedal box from here, and then I'm not gonna be able. Now I tried with my screw gun and it does, I can't fit it there. So once the pedals are removed for servicing, that's when we're gonna connect, that's where we're gonna put the mount on the wall. So it's not gonna hang like that, it's gonna be nicely mounted like that. But for now I just shoved the ground here to the on the spring, which barely makes any contact, but it actually works. So let's see outside. Yeah, we have left signal and we have right signal, so we're all good. What I like about these relays is that when you turn the switch off, it clicks 2 more times before it stops. Or 1 more time, whatever. Anyways, so that's done. Now I'm gonna go around and start changing bulbs. All right, we have a slight problem here. The bulbs for the parking lights, I got white ones because there was no amber available, and you see what's going on? The color is not matching, so so these are the bulbs and they're white. So Anyways, we're gonna use these for the dash and everywhere else. I just went and I ordered same bulb but in amber, but it looks like it's gonna take a few weeks to come, so it might be after the owner takes the car. But we're just gonna put the incandescent bulb back here because that's not a nice color. And if they come after the car is picked up, I'm gonna meet the owner again. He's local. I'm gonna have to retorque the head, readjust the valves at some point, so at that time we might change them, or we will see what we're gonna do. Hopefully they're gonna come on time though. Anyway, so I'm gonna go and change these now. Let's see, these should be easy. This should pull out, just the lens should pull out of the rubber, just like this. There you go. So the replacement bulb for here is 170946. So it says bulb LED white for white lens. So let's see. These are quite expensive, you know. Wow. They're quite a bit taller too. I hope they fit inside the lens, you know. Okay, first let's make sure that it works. Wow, that's bright. I hope it's gonna fit inside the lens. Yeah, it does. Okay. And then the bezel. Good, these work well. Okay, the one for here, it was tricky to take it out, but yeah, that's the old one, and the new one is, the LED version of it is 170920, bulb LED white for white lens. It needs to be a stubby bulb, you know, so I'm hoping it is the one that we need. There you go. Yeah, it should fit. Okay, let's turn it on. All right, so this I can assemble. All right, here it's a little bit dark, so let's see. So for here, you have a bulb LED red for red lens. So I don't know if this is the one with the 2 or with 1 circuits. Okay, this is the one with the 2 circuits. Okay, so it goes, replaces the one with the 2 circuits too. So there you go. And this is the one for the signal, which is with only 1 circuit. And this one is 170956. So it's pretty much the same as the one that we installed on the front, but it's red instead of white. Like, what's nice about these bulbs is you see it has a lens here and also on the side. So they are expensive though. Quite expensive. Anyway, let's see if they work. Nice. Brake light. Okay. I just bypassed the switch. Okay, I don't see a difference, but oh, so the brake light doesn't work, but the other one doesn't work either. Why? Oh, we need to have the ignition on. Okay. All right, so now it works. Okay, so let me see. So that's just the tail light. And let me press the brakes. And this is with the brakes. Wow. Nice and bright. Let's see the signal. And we have the signal as well. Good. Let's test everything now. So that's regular tail lights. It's nice and bright. left signal, oops, ignition, and then left signal. Nice. Right signal. Nice. And brakes. Nice. All right, so now what's left is to run a wire for our third light, but that's we're gonna do later. Let's change the bulbs on the dash now. All right, so now I'm gonna try first to do it without taking the dash apart, and I'm concerned more about these. I know that these I can change without taking the dash apart, but first I'm gonna do these, and especially the ones on top. This one doesn't even have an ashtray on top, you know? If I'm able to change these, then I'm gonna change these as well. If not, then I'm gonna have to take the dash apart again. I don't want to do that. All right, for here I had to remove the speedometer. There's no other way to reach here at the top light, but once I removed it, it is perfect. Now they're all changed. Well, you can't really see, but let me turn the lights off. My phone adjusts to the darkness in the garage, but here, this is what they look like. Come on. I guess we're gonna have to check them tonight because look, it's pretty dark in the garage, but the phone adjusts. Okay, I'm gonna deal with this now. Oh my God, finally, I made this work. So these four work, no problem. This one is not as bright as the other ones for whatever reason. I don't know why. Looks like the gauge is, I don't know. This one is the brightest. Anyways, this one finally made it work, and I had a problem here, and I'll show you what my problem is. Let me turn on the light. All right. Oh, that was pain in the butt. Anyways, so as you can see here, these are the bulbs that I'm using, and compared to the old incandescent one, they're much deeper and or much taller. And unfortunately here we don't have much room to put it on, and it took me a while to figure that out. And anyways, you can see that's how far it can go, and that's it. Can go more than that because look how deep it needs to go, and we have the back of the whatever that is, so that doesn't work. So I tried with another type of LED bulb that I have. So I tried with this LED bulb that I have, but it's just not bright enough, and on top of it this is warm white, it's not white. So this one fits somewhat, but the problem is when you turn the light on, it doesn't work. Like now it doesn't have ground now, but the problem is this one has a lens that points the light forward, and at the side there's almost nothing. So when it's inside and it hits the thing, what is this, like scale? I don't know what it is, but when it hits the back, it is literally dimming itself, and the sides here there's no much light coming out, so it's very dim. So I need to use this one. Unfortunately, we are limited to this one. Let me make sure it works. Yeah, when you give it ground, it works. So what I did for this one is I used a bulb like this, and I made a ring for here, because you see here, this is for the main beam light, so here it would fit perfectly, no problem. But here, this is a problem. So that's why for here, on the other one, I made something like this. I made a ring, and now we have to make one for here, and I'll show you what we're gonna do. Do you remember the old pilot bushing that came out of the flywheel of this car? I turned it into two rings like this, and I just soldered this one here. There's a little step inside, just like here. You see here you have a step at the end because these little prongs here, they click inside here. So on the lathe I made the same step here inside, soldered it here. I was thinking of JB Weld or something, but that makes it permanent, and I don't want to make it permanent. And also I don't know if it is JB Weld is conductive. So here I soldered it, and now we know for a fact that we have continuity here, and the bushing can give me ground, and it fits perfectly now. It clicks perfectly there. So let's see now if it is gonna work. We need to ground it. I don't know if you see it. It's too bright now, but we're gonna turn the lights off later, or tonight even better. So that can finally go inside there. There you go. This one came on too. And finally, now we have LEDs all over the dash. Let me turn off all the lights and see if you're gonna make the difference. All right. Can't make it darker in the garage, but I believe that's enough. Let me see what you see. So nice and bright here. Let's see the high beam, not the high beam. The main beam came on. Okay. What else here? The charging warning light and signals. That's all the lights on the dash, I believe. So yeah, perfect. Well, actually, now that I'm editing this video, I want to add something here. I made a mistake with the charging warning light. Turns out it cannot be LED, because you know how this light is actually part of the signaling back to the alternator to start charging. So the field wire of the alternator is connected to one side of this bulb. The other side is connected to the ignition switch. So when you turn the ignition on, you have power on this side of the bulb, let's say, and on the other side, the bulb senses ground from the field wire, because the alternator is still not charging, because only the ignition is on. Once you start the car, actually, then the alternator senses the power from this bulb and starts charging. That's how alternators work. If the alternator doesn't sense that power from the ignition through the bulb, then it won't start charging. So if you have an incandescent bulb there, the power goes through it and the alternator can sense it. And once the alternator starts charging, the field wire now also have power, and now the bulb has power on both sides, and that makes it stop working, of course, because it needs ground on one side. Well, with the LED light, because you know that the D in LED stands for diode, so now the current can travel only one way through it. And I thought that the alternator should be able to sense the power, but today I figured out. Today I started the car for the first time in a week, I guess, and the light didn't come off and the alternator didn't charge when I had an LED bulb there. So I had to actually replace it again with incandescent bulb, and then the alternator started charging and the light came off. So just so you know, you can't change this bulb to LED. And somebody actually asked me in my alternator video, can this bulb be LED? And I said, yes, sure, no problem. Well, I was wrong. It cannot be. It needs to be incandescent. And while we are on lights subject, let's wire this one as well. So that's how it came with these wires, but we want to put this in a conduit and put a connector in at the end, and we're gonna make it removable. That's what I didn't mention in the last video, and I guess people got frustrated about something that is permanently there. No, it's not gonna be permanent. It is only when the owner feels like it. Then he can remove it. That's why it's magnetic. The owner can remove it whenever he wants. He can always do this, fish it inside. He can center it, put it so it doesn't touch the gas cap, and then close it. And just a little bit of wires are going to be exposed here at the back. And then to remove it the same way, open the trunk, disconnect it, and bring it out. Alright, so what I did was I tapped my red wire into the green with purple, this one, but inside there I pulled back a little bit this conduit and soldered it there, and unfortunately there's no connections anywhere here, so I had to solder to the original wire. So the green with the purple is the brake light, and then for ground I just grounded it directly to the brake light fixture, and then I fished it through all the way with the other wiring, and then it goes behind this cover and comes out here. I gotta cut my fingers somewhere. Anyway, so it comes out here, and now with this thing we can plug it in whenever we want to. Alright, since we are on electrical mode, let's install our high torque starter too. And yes, it's not just plug and play, because for the TR4 we have the solenoid separate from the starter, but here we have the solenoid on the starter, so we're gonna have to bypass the solenoid on the car, which we're gonna keep there, we're just gonna bypass it. So first of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace the starter on my own. You don't need to be involved. We can't use our original bolt that goes on top, but it comes with this stud that is already mounted there. So we're going to have to use only our bottom one. All right, I'll see you in 15 minutes. All right, so the old starter is out, and look, oh my God, it's so much heavier, and this is so much smaller. So look at that part here. How this one works is when it starts turning, and because it starts turning really fast, what happens is this gear stays behind, and thanks to these screws here, moves towards the flywheel and meshes with the ring gear, and it starts turning it. So the flywheel spins counterclockwise if you're looking at it. So because the flywheel is turning counterclockwise when the engine actually starts and the flywheel starts moving on its own, now it pushes this gear clockwise and it comes back here. Sometimes what happens though, and it happened to another TR4 that I worked on years ago, these screws were rusted. There was no lubrication here at all, and once this gear got engaged with the flywheel, it didn't come back and it stayed on, and the starter motor kept running together with the engine and it burnt it. So anyways, this one works the other way around. This sits on the other side of the ring gear, and when it works, when it starts working, it comes out this way and still engages. It's pretty much the same level as this one, you see? It's just the other way around. So it should work. Even though they look totally different here, it should work. So let me put it on and I'll bring you back. Okay, so the starter is installed, and here I put it in such a way that you can see the old solenoid So this is the wire from the battery, and this is the wire after the solenoid that goes to the starter. Inside there's a big plate that moves in and out and connects this to this one. How it is controlled? It's controlled with an electrical magnet, which is activated with this wire. This is the wire that comes from our ignition switch. So as soon as we put power to this terminal here, this one and this one get connected with a huge switch inside the solenoid. So basically the solenoid is a huge relay. That's what it is. So what we have to do now is we need to connect this one to this one permanently and plug in the starter down there. But the starter is not going to start turning until we send power from here to down there to the little terminal there. So what we have to do is unplug this from here, and we're probably going to install a different connector, and we're going to plug it in directly there. We have enough room. And the other thing is we're going to undo this nut and we're going to move this on top. So they're going to be permanently connected. And then the solenoid is going to stay here just as a dummy. Or I don't know if the better option is actually maybe to move this on the bottom, but then we have to move all these as well, because this is power going to somewhere else directly from the battery, right? So maybe this is a better option. I don't know, we will see. But in the first place, I have to remove this cable and drill this a little bit bigger, because the stud on the old starter was a little bit smaller, and then we're gonna plug it in there. All right, so what I did was I moved the wire from above, I put it down there together with the other two small wires, so everything is connected together now. The solenoid is just a dummy. I use it just for its post here to connect all the wires, and the signal from the ignition switch, I installed the connector that came with the starter and I plugged it in there. So let's see if it is gonna rock and roll. The electronic ignition is unplugged, so it's not gonna start, but let's see how it cranks. Ooh, it's not gonna crank without battery. Okay, now the battery is connected. Holy moly. Okay, it cranks. So another project done. All right, what else we can do here is we can deal with this plug. If you remember, we converted this car from generator to alternator, and we installed a plug here for the alternator. And this plug has 3 prongs here. One is for our field wire, and the 2 big ones are for the battery. But I was a little concerned, and many of you also commented on my video, that this plug here is not enough if the battery is too low. So if the battery is not low, it's going to be okay, because it's going to charge with whatever, 10, oops, okay, it's going to charge with whatever, 10, 15 amp. But if the battery is too low, then the alternator can start charging with 50 amps, for example. And all this current is going to go through this single connector here, which I don't trust a lot. Like, it doesn't look too bad, but anyways, we have the other terminal here, so why don't we use it? So that's what we're gonna do. I have another connector now that we're gonna use, and we're gonna draw power through both sides of the alternator through 2 separate wires. All right, so now we have extra wire here. So let's put it in until it clicks. There you go. Perfect. Put the back cover on. And plug it in again. Okay. And since we are still in electrical mode, let's deal with this mess here. So what happened here was, let me connect the battery, I'll show you. So this horn mount was insulated from the ground here, with some stuff here, which was holding somehow, and it was plugged in like that. The other day, as I was working on the car, as I was tightening a screw somewhere on the other side, I was shaking the car and it started, and I was like, oh, what happened? Then I went and I checked the steering wheel and made sure that nothing is shortening it there. Nope, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. And then later again, it went ping, and then I came here and I shook it, and it turned out that whatever was insulating it here got broken. And this is how it is done. So this is permanent power, and this is a fuse here. Therefore, you have a fuse here, for inline fuse for the horn, because it's connected directly to the battery. It doesn't go through the electrical system of the car. And then from the steering wheel, you provide ground here. So I think here the easiest way now to deal with that is by just making something here to isolate it from the ground again, and just it's going to work the same way. It's always going to have power, but it's going to be grounded only when we press the horn button. So we need to make something for here to isolate this. All right, one more problem fixed, and I think this is going to be the last one for this video. I think now we are done with all the electrical stuff that we were supposed to do on this car. There's just the USB and the switch need to be installed inside, the switch for the electric fan. But the wiring is run, so we just need to install the switch and the USB port, and we need to plug them in the back. So that's all the electrical. So like I said, this is going to be for this video. In the next one, probably we're going to start dealing with the engine again. We want to install that vacuum unit on the distributor and see if we can finally tune up the engine properly with the vacuum advance and everything. And then we're going to have to install the front shocks, and we're going to be able to go for a test drive. The weather this week is beautiful. It started getting warmer finally. Temperatures are above 5-6 degrees Celsius. That's great. I'm sick and tired of being cold, so actually today I'm gonna go outside. There's a, let me open the door so you can see. So you see, the sunshine is here finally. I tried to uncover this car from the snow because, like I said, somebody wants the transmission from it. But look at this. The snow on top I was able to remove, but this one here is like from, I believe, from November or December last year. And it is like ice. And the top layer is actually a little bit softer now because of the sun. But underneath it is solid ice. So anyways, soon we're gonna be able to uncover it. Ah, my poor baby. Anyways, so today I'm not gonna do any more Triumph work. It's about noon, so I'm gonna go in the front of the house, and I have a wiring job that I need to do on Cheftar's trailer. We lost one of the signal lights when we were picking up his TR6, the last one that he bought. So today finally I'm gonna go and enjoy the sun and fix his trailer. And actually I have to look at my truck even. The transmission is shifting funny, so I think it's low on oil. So I'm gonna have to top it up. So anyways, I just wanted to show you the nice weather. We still have snow, but soon it's gonna be gone. And I'm gonna be so happy. I can't wait for this everything to turn green again. Anyways, that's gonna be it for today, guys. Thanks for watching, thanks for commenting, subscribing, sharing, supporting the channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.